Hello, I'm Jeffrey and welcome back to the channel. Now, have you ever felt like you spend most of your time just consuming information, whether it be books, videos, articles, podcasts? I mean, the list just goes on and on. I certainly have, and the unfortunate thing is that in comparison, I only spend a small fraction of my time actually doing anything with the information that I so eagerly devoured. And recently, the guilt of passing over and putting off all of the suggested actions became so much that I thought I would spend some time reflecting on why this is. And I managed to come up with three main reasons, which I'm calling the myths of information consumption. Now, the first myth is that consumption equals competence. Tiago Forte highlights this quite well in one of his blog posts, saying that many people become infovores, force-feeding themselves endless books, articles, and courses in the hope that something will stick. This is what I was doing. I was gorging myself on information because I was thinking that if I wanted to become more competent, if I wanted things to stick, then I just had to keep consuming more and more. I thought, whether consciously or subconsciously, that the rate at which I could read about leadership would equal the rate at which I became a better leader. I mean, it doesn't take much reflection to realize just how false this is. For example, reading about running will not make me any better at completing a marathon unless I actually get out there and spend most of my time running. It seems so simple, right? But I think there's an important distinction that I had not consciously made, which is that information is meant to complement experience rather than experience complementing information. A useful analogy would be to imagine that consuming information is like steering your car, whereas taking action is like pressing the accelerator. If you spend all your time just moving the steering wheel, it might feel like you're doing something, but really you haven't gone anywhere. You need to keep pressure on the accelerator and use the knowledge you gain to correct your course. If you do that, then you're much more likely to end up where you want to go. The second myth comes from the fear of missing out. That if we stop consuming, we're going to miss out on something important. That the next book on our to-read list is so much more important than all the previous books that we have ever read combined. That it will revolutionize the way we work, the way we think. And if we don't keep consuming, we won't have the information that everyone else is aware of. So before you start taking action, you just need to listen to this next podcast or download this new app, and on and on and on it goes. We keep chasing the next thing because we undervalue what we already know and we overvalue what we don't. I think this comes from the fact that there is just so much more out there that we don't know than what we do. I mean, this is always going to be true unless in some future we have the ability to integrate our minds with computers. But I think the trap that I fell into was that the next individual book became a placeholder for all the knowledge that I didn't have. I mean, this is logically false, but we can get this feeling that unless we are continually making progress, of pulling back the curtain of the unknown, we're falling behind. And the third myth is that if we action what we read, then we will find ourselves in a perpetual state of discomfort. In the book Ultra Learning, Scott Young writes that directly learning the thing we want feels too uncomfortable, boring, or frustrating, so we settle for some book, lecture, or app, hoping it will eventually make us better at the real thing. This feeling of being uncomfortable plays the biggest role in keeping me in passive consumption mode rather than taking action. And it's true that taking action will likely be uncomfortable, at least in the beginning. There is this hurdle that we have to get over, but we often mistake the hurdle for a plateau. Being uncomfortable is how you know you're making progress. If it wasn't stretching your abilities and forcing you to grow, then there would be no discomfort. And staying in the passenger seat feels safe. We don't have to be vulnerable. Our egos stay well protected because we never have to put ourselves to the test. We can let everyone else do the work for us, and we can sit here, safe and sound, consuming it at our leisure. In the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss says that success can be measured in the number of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have. And I think we can make this even more general than that. I mean, I think success can be measured by how much you can tolerate being uncomfortable. If we gave up every time we started feeling the least bit of discomfort when we were doing some physical exercises, then we would have a hard time improving our fitness. And the same is true of any mental endeavor. Sure, it's easier to grab the next book from the stack than to try and apply the knowledge we gained from the one we just finished. But what is more likely to flex our mental muscles? So after this reflection, I realized that consuming more should not become an excuse for putting off action. If I want to gain competence, then knowledge needs to complement experience, not the other way around. And rather than worry about what I might be missing out on, I should spend some more time shoring up my intellectual foundations. And above all else, I need to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that is the only way I will make progress. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of these points. If you struggle yourself with being an infovore and why. Also, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.